Good morning, everyone. Well, again, we have summer during the fall. It's the 30th of September and it's nice and warm outside. It is a little cloudy today, but it is a very, very nice day for sure. And today I'm going to talk a little bit about, how when we start talking about purpose, passion, and gratitude, how there are a lot of things that we have to be very, very much aware of. Many of you know my story about my life. One of the things that happened, and it was a very positive uh, happening for me, is that my father was one of the first park naturalists at Theodore Roosevelt Park. At the time that the park was just really being developed, trails were being built, um, people were studying the flora and fauna to find out what was there. Uh, and my father not only did park programs like what most people think park naturalists do, but he also went out and marked trails. And in doing that, he would take two little boys with him, and one was me, and then my younger brother Dean. And we grew up knowing Theodore Roosevelt's story as it pertained to his time in North Dakota. And then as I grew older, I really began to read a lot of different biographies and actually autobiographies of great people. And one of them that I read was the story of Theodore Roosevelt. And as time goes on, I, I I became very much a fan of who he was and what he stood for in our country. And there's a quote that's been on my wall literally for over 50 years. It follows me from one office to the next, and I'm sure it'll be with me to the very end. It's not a business quote, it's not a motivational poster with a big box score. It's a battle cry, a mirror I've looked into on hard days, and a compass I've used to find my way. It's the words of Theodore Roosevelt, and today I want to share it with you. I've shared it with many of my students. They've all seen it and heard me say it. But I want to not only just inspire you, I want to challenge you. And here it goes. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes up short again and again, who knows great enthusiasms, great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least he fails while daring greatly. So that is his place. Shall never be with those cold and timid souls who knew neither victory nor defeat. Now, obviously, that particular quote probably for me fit me in many, many ways. And I'm not going to get into all of it, but I was a wrestler. I loved the game of golf. And those sports reflect this particular quote for sure. As I said, the quotes live with me because I've felt the dust, I've wiped the sweat, I've bled a little, both figuratively and literally. And like you, I've stumbled. But here's what I've learned through it all. Dedication is the bridge between dreams and reality. Success doesn't come to the timid, it comes to the devoted. Victory belongs to the passionately persistent. Thus, purpose, passion, gratitude. It's not for those sitting safely on the sidelines with opinions. It's for those in the ring and those who show up, take the hits, and keep going. As many of you know, I don't like sitting up in the stands sometimes during different athletic events and listening to people complain about coaching or a particular kid. They know nothing about what it's like being out there on the mat or on the floor, or for that matter, out there hitting that golf shot. Now, some do, obviously, but if they do know, I suspect that many of them don't say anything. You've heard me talk about purpose, and this is what it looks like when it's tested. You've heard me talk about passion, and this is what it feels like when it fuels you to keep fighting even when it's hard. And you've heard me talk about gratitude, and this is where it takes root. I thank my father for exposing me to Theodore Roosevelt and to the stories I heard from not only him, but from many others that were at that park during those early years in my life. That was a long, long time ago. We have to understand that there are so many influences in our lives. And when you're in the arena, you begin to thank those who believed in you when others didn't. You thank the ones who stood by your side when your knees were shaking, not just when your hands were raised in victory. Maybe you're in the arena right now. Maybe you're covered in sweat and tears. Maybe you failed publicly, been criticized unfairly, or felt like giving up. Let me say this very clearly. You're not alone. I see you, and more importantly, what you're doing matters. If you've dared to live with purpose, if you've chosen passion over fear, if you've grown and shown gratitude even when things weren't perfect, then you're in the arena. And that's where the great ones are forged. So don't back down. Don't waste another second trying to appease the critics in the stands. They won't write your legacy. You will. Each of us has our own personal legacy, and we write it virtually every single day. And if you fall forward, fall with honor, fall with daring greatly, because your life, your purpose, your calling are worth the fight. You were made to become, and this is your arena. Have a good one, everyone. And while you're out there in the arena, if you have the opportunity to help someone and raise them up and make their day better, perhaps their life better by what you do for them, knowing that you may never ever be paid back for that gesture, you have not only helped them, but you have also helped yourself, raised yourself up, made your life better, and in that gesture, you have made this world a whole lot better place. One other thing, read Theodore Roosevelt's autobiography. Find out about a man who had many, many battles from the time he was a child through his adulthood and to the very end of his life. It's a great story. Have a good one, everyone.